It was always late Friday night after the 11 o'clock news on Channel 56. I could stay up that hour because there was no school the next day. I'd get to use the big TV in the den as long as I didn't have the sound up too high. Or else one of my brothers or my dad would tell me to turn it down. Usually everyone was either asleep or working overnight. Then the first notes of Gil Mel's theme, the most frightening piece of music ever made for television, and the agonized faces of the damned coming at us. It was a series of black boxes. That night's rerun of Rod Serling's Night Gallery was on. This isn't about the series as a whole, but the one episode that really delivered what that title sequence and that theme music promised. That episode was Season 2's The Caterpillar. We're in the hot as hell jungle in Borneo. Colonel John Warwick is making a living sweating. But it's okay because his haughty wife, Rona, is played by Joanna Pettit. I don't know why Pettit didn't become a bigger star, but she was on several episodes of Gallery, so at least producer Jack Laird appreciated that she not only had looks, but she could act well enough. Rona gets by sitting inside sewing while it rains outside. Their crabby house guest was a soldier under the colonel. Macy is played by Lawrence Harvey, who doesn't look good, probably because he is some kind of business associate of the colonel's now, but he can't stand being in Borneo, since there's no cable. Also, he's got the hots for Rona, because, duh, but she knows what's what, and tells him there's no way she's giving up on all of this. Take a cold bath, Mr. Macy. Exit, and cut. Macy sulks off. Leaving Borneo isn't an option, and apparently Borneo has no prostitution going on, so Macy does the next best thing. He gets drunk and listens to the local ex-con at the bar. In television in the 70s, no expatriate could do without the services of someone who's done time, who knows all the shady stuff going on. This guy, Robinson, tells Macy about an earwig, an insect that's been known to get in people's ears and chew their brains until the person is crazy or dead. If Macy will pay, Robinson will make sure an earwig ends up on Colonel Mustard's pillow, where it will crawl into the old man's ear. Eventually, Rona will be single. An earwig is an actual thing, so why is this episode called The Caterpillar instead of the earwig? I'm not going to reveal the ending, but I have to get into spoiler material if I'm going to have something to make a video about. So here we go into spoilery stuff. The most valuable player in this episode is Lawrence Harvey. He died not long after he made this episode, and you can believe it. He looks awful, thin and sickly before anything's happened to the character. The first big horror moment is where such a story normally would have ended on television, with the revelation of the horror concept. Music up, character screams, fade to black, episode over. But the episode continues on. We see what happens to the poor guy who gets his brain-eating thing in his head. The fear in the caterpillar comes from the concept as much as the execution. Just the idea behind it is creepy, and we never actually get to see the monster. You might not be scared by heights or snakes or finding pineapple on your pizza, but anyone becomes uncomfortable at the thought of an insect burrowing through their brain. It's been pointed out by Stephen King and others that having your brain eaten wouldn't hurt because of the lack of nerve cells. But we can imagine the horrors that would follow as your brain starts dying from some little stowaway that's always in there behind your eyes, chewing away. The best horror sneaks up on you and grabs you where you didn't know you had anything to grab. Before Psycho, did many people worry about getting stabbed to death in the shower? How many people worried about being possessed by a demon before The Exorcist? Being gobbled up by a shark? How about having a baby alien erupt through your chest? The movies made us afraid of those things. The caterpillar is the same kind of fear. It works in a sore spot we didn't know was there. The script was by Rod Serling, based on the short story Boomerang by Oscar Cook, who had actually lived in Borneo. The director of photography was Gerald Perry Finnerman. Here he used some of the tricks he'd used as DP in the original Star Trek, like the Kirk light when Harvey is getting desperate. We see the sweat, especially later in the episode when things get pretty horrifying. The Caterpillar has a good cast, moody photography and music, and a horrifying idea that'll get you scratching. And the ending is the best part, and one of the best of the whole show. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again soon.